Hi, my name is Devin. I'm here today with
Dylan.
MK. And Natasha.
So, what's on your pad right here?
It's asking what is one thing you're thankful for.
And why did you guys do this?
We just found like a sketch pad and we thought we should write something in it, and we thought other people should write in it too.
And why this question?
Because it's the time of year to start thinking about what you're thankful for. The holidays are coming up, and specifically the people that have added in it, like these two entries right here were written by homeless people who don't really have a lot to look forward to when it comes to the holidays, and it's just a pick-me-up and a positive thing for them to like train their thoughts towards.
Yeah. And this says, I'm thankful for discovering the real me. Do you think a lot of people lose sight of finding themselves in today's world?
Completely. Definitely.
And do you think social media has any impact on that?
Absolutely. It's so easy to lose yourself in who you think everybody else wants to see you as, and you're looking at everybody else's highlight reel compared to the raw, uncut version of your life. And it's really hard to like lose track of where you're supposed to fit in society's standards.
I think social media gives you a false sense of distortion with the world, and it doesn't. You don't learn the world as it really is. You learn it through a lens, and that lens could be manipulated ultimately by anybody. You don't even realize it. You'd be changing your life.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with both. Social media is just like a toxic place, and you could you could get a lot of self-destruction from looking at things on social media and comparing yourself to other people and yourself.
And what do you guys define happiness as?
That's so hard.
I think my friends, my one friend that I have, my best friend, like this is my only source of happiness, and my family.
I think to everyone, happiness can mean something different. I think it's really just accomplishing what your mind, heart, and soul wants.
And do you think a lot of people give up accomplishing exactly what they really want because of society tells them to do otherwise?
Well, absolutely. People will throw away their dreams, their hopes for, that $60,000 job with a salary at the office. It's going to drain you away, but if you're making money, people will appreciate that over chasing a dream.
Do you think we should start valuing like people chasing their dreams in the whole process rather than when they actually get there, or that $60,000 job?
I think it's important to like support and like what's a different word for support? Glorify the people who are actually going after what they want, like truly what they want, instead of letting society influence them into a 9-to-5 desk job and stuff like that. Because like that's the things that most people don't dare to do, and that's the things that are outside the box that nobody wants to like step outside of because they're afraid of how they're going to be viewed.
Yeah.
And what do you guys think about college? Is it necessary in today's world?
I don't think it is. A lot of people don't really want to do college, and they have other dreams that don't involve college, and some people actually do go for college, which is good. Both are good as long as you like accomplish your own dreams and you're happy.
Do you think with the whole process of college, do you think a lot of people wind up giving up their dreams because they're forced into college?
Yeah, because even though lots of colleges like brag about having so many degree programs and all these like different pathways, at the end of the day you're still stuck like choosing between the boxes and which one to check and which one to like mark off as what you're going to be for the rest of your life and what pathway you're going to keep walking down. Even though like our experiences are so fluid, and it's so fluid, and you can't, especially when you're that age and when you're our age and you're like sitting there having to determine what you're going to do for the rest of your life.
And how old are you guys?
I'm 18.
I'm 16.
Yeah, so you guys are pretty young. So, what do you think? I mean, do you want to continue?
No, I'm good.
What do you think about like college? Do you think a lot of people give up their dreams and they feel forced to go to college?
I do. I think college is necessary for society. I mean, we need engineers, doctors, all that. But I don't think college should be pushed as the only solution after high school for you to be successful. There's plenty of trade programs. You can plenty of things to learn by yourself. We always need musicians, culture.
We need people like that are creative. And do you guys believe that society views people that don't go to college as losers and is this a alright, go music. But do you guys think that like society views people who don't go to college like as losers or
Yes.
Definitely less than. I feel like in society standards, if you don't have a higher form of education or a piece of paper that says you spent 4 years dedicated to learning more
Yeah.
about something, it just, specifically when it comes to applying for jobs, like you're undervalued, I guess.
is it sad that we kind of like give up our own happiness just to work a 9 to 5, make $60,000 to pay to live in a free world?
That's my biggest
Yeah.
fear. That is
We
my
live in a
biggest
free
fear.
world. Like Kanye said it best. You can't buy the world. Or why the fuck are why is everything running around money? Like we just print that up whenever we need more. And what do you guys think about paying all this money for college? You think that it's okay to give people loans and put them in debt?
It's
Something
absolutely
behind-
ridiculous, especially with the financial aid situation where it depends on your parents' income. It's so stupid because like my dad, he has so much money. He's like very well to do, but I don't live with him. I live with my mom. But because they filed taxes together like last year and this year, technically I have to count both of theirs, which
Yeah.
my mom and I are broke, like living paycheck to paycheck. And I'm not gonna get the financial support that I actually need just because of that.
System is flawed, and
Yeah.
you know how many kids probably go through that, and like you said, why is it? What about your parents make? It's about you at the end of the day,
Exactly.
Not everybody has parents who are gonna pay for them to go to college or support them. So after college you get your paper, and you might not even get a job. What do you think about the situation?
I have 5 siblings at home, and my parents they can't afford a lot of things, and it's kind of hard for them to be thinking about college. And I don't really want to go to college. My sister does, my other siblings do too, but I don't want them to worry about being able to pay so we can have like a good life and afford all these things. They don't want us to have the same life they do.
Sorry, repeat the question one more time.
What do you think about loans and colleges giving kids, money and telling them to pay back, setting them behind, in debt, $100,000, $200,000, sometimes, $70,000 they're in debt after college. What do you think about that?
In our current age, we have a college financial crisis. College has been around for a good while. I think some of the oldest colleges go back like 500-600 years. And this is a big problem. We haven't had a lot of people like this much in debt. I think in any time really. Because you go back, think about like the 1950s all the way to like the 1970s. Going to college was seen as, pretty mainstream, just trying to get a higher education. But it didn't cost people all that much. And then so these are problems created by our own faults.
And what do you think about like the purpose of life? You think that there's one set purpose?
I think the purpose of life is to find our own individual reasons for existence and to pursue it. That's what I think.
So why do so many people try to follow the same path?
Because it's just, society just puts it out there that following that same path will get you to the same destination, and it's not. Like, you could go through different paths and get there. There's other paths to go through. You don't have to go through the same path.
But if that destination doesn't lead to happiness for most people, why do people still follow it?
Because it's a chance at maybe finding something that's going to make somebody happy. But at the end of the day, when you look at all the rich and famous people, most of them just seem so miserable and so besides themselves with how they've developed into this career that's so undervalued, unappreciative, and destructive for them. And it's really hard to see somebody making a conscious decision to live a life like that. But it's so easy to fall into that trap because their highlight reel, their life is just blown into proportion where it's just like, why doesn't everybody want to, be a supermodel and drive fancy cars and have millions of girlfriends? Like, why doesn't everybody want that? And the truth is, people think that they want that until they get it, and
think that people lose sight of the blessings that they have now, thinking about what they could have, saying that I'd be happy when I get, rather than I'm happy because I have?
Yes. Very much so.
Yeah. What do you think about that saying, I'll be happy when I have?
Let's see what's gotten on the list.
I think.
A lot of family and a lot of friends.
Yeah.
We are thankful for our family. Am I interrupting?
No, what are you thankful for?
I wrote it. I'm the very
He
first
is
one.
one of our members.
I'm
This
one of
is
the
you.
members. I'm a member.
I have a question.
He's this one.
You wrote that one? With beautiful ladies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who is it?
Tons of them.
I've been in this town. I moved here 4 days ago. And I went down to the university for the first time. I almost couldn't handle it.
Can I ask you some questions?
What's that?
Well, I'm doing an interview right now.
there's
Do you mind being in it? Not at all.
Not at all. Let me get comfortable.
What do you think the purpose of life is?
Well, the purpose of life is to follow your heart.
Yeah.
And the nature of life is that it is never ending, really. There is no such thing as death. Death is just a transition. Actually, in reality, when you are born, it feels more like a death than when you die. Because your all-powerful soul is condensed down into this body. But when you die, it's released. So the purpose of life is to be in your joy place or follow your heart. Whatever that means for you is your purpose.
And why do you think so many people follow a conformed path that doesn't technically lead to happiness?
Because they would like the things that path would give them. So in this world, we have a world that is designed for the people that follow the path. The path of capitalism. Well, if you follow capitalism, it's much easier for you in this world to get a house, a car, a girlfriend, a food. But what do you sacrifice for that? That's the question. But so the reason why is because people want security, and there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes their heart doesn't actually translate to security, and they realize that. So they choose security. And that's only natural. Everyone wants to be secure. Everyone wants to have a car and be functioning. There's nothing wrong with that. I, a lot of times, choose that. But then a lot of times, I choose to be this lifestyle.
And do you think a lot of people give up their search for purpose of life and their search for happiness, for that security?
Most people.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
No, you go.
It doesn't have to be this way. What if the world was designed where we didn't need so much focus on money? We could have a world designed a different way, where it's easier to follow your heart and have security at the same time.
Do you think that social media has an impact on that? And phones?
Phones have an incredible impact. Since I am born in 1984, and the first time I was on the internet or used search engine, I was in 8th grade. So for your generation, it's been since day one, pretty much.
Yeah.
And so I don't even really quite understand the phone thing, and I don't carry one with me. I have one. I have a tablet computer, and I still plug a mouse and a keyboard into it because I don't like the touch screens. I can type on the keyboard. So I think that it has value. It has value. There's nothing wrong with it. I use social media. I have 5,000 social media friends because I've traveled to almost 15 different countries.
Yeah.
And make friends along the way. So I got the limit on the friend thing. But so I use it, but I have plugged into it in a few days, or 4 days ago I plugged into any social media. So for me, I have this philosophy. I have a office, whether that office is Starbucks or my home or hotel. That's where I use my computer or my phone or whatever, my device. When I leave that office, I say goodbye to my office, my computer. So I'm very good at it.
Yeah.
But I don't carry one with me. Because I feel that this world right here is also a digital construct. It is. It really is. It is based on zeros and ones. This is an illusion. You are in an advanced computer program right now, way more advanced than anything screen technology. So I choose to be in this matrix, in this digital world.
And do you think if you carried around a phone like most people do, that you would disconnect from this reality and go into the phone?
Absolutely.
And how do you think that affects us?
Greatly. I noticed a lot of the girls of Gen Y, Gen Z, that's I'm Gen Y. I always have it right here, you know. Wait, maybe. Oh. It's an addiction. And your generation has an addiction, and it'd be very wise of you to lose that addiction. And because social media is purposely designed by Mark Zuckerberg and all of his associates, a lot of them have quit because of this. It's perfectly designed. It's designed to be addictive.
Yeah.
Like a casino.
Do you think it divides us?
It connects and divides at the same time. So it's awesome. I can talk to people in Africa on that.
Off the phones, in real world, do you think it divides us?
Yes.
Do you think it creates more hate?
It creates division, but in division will translate to hate very easily, because divide and conquer is the motto of those who enslave us.
And do you think we're enslaved right now with the phones?
Yes, it is only going to get much worse. The phone, from the controllers, the criminals that run this world, is designed specifically for tracking purposes. So, but they get you to be addicted to the games and the social media so that you can't leave the house without it. Well, everywhere it goes, it tracks every move you make. And soon you're going to need it to go in everywhere. You need it to pay for things, and if you don't have one, you are outside of society. That's very, very close. You see it, it's incremental. They always do it in steps. It's getting more and more and more that way. A couple of years from now, there won't be cash.
He just said outside of society. Now you guys are younger, you guys all have a phone on you right now. Do you think that it would be easier to collectively give up your phones rather than you do it by yourself? And like, say if you gave up your phone and these two had their phone, do you think that would be hard? That you would feel like a outsider?
I mean, earlier this year, I didn't have a phone. I had a flip phone. I had a little Motorola thing because mine got stolen. And honestly, that was such a blessing in disguise, and I didn't realize it. Because I was struggling in like such a really difficult time in my life, and I didn't really realize how much the constant connection to everything was just making my recovery from that so much worse. And at first it was really difficult, and I really did feel secluded and left out. And I had that like constant fear that I was just missing things that everybody else was knowing. So
you just said the key word. A lot of people talking about it. You think that we should go back to flip phones?
That's funny you say that, because I went back to a flip phone. I had one for 6 months. I was living in Brookings, Oregon. I had a landscaping business just there that I just closed down. So that's what I'm pretty much living on, not my trumpet playing music. I pay like $5 today, but I do it for fun. But so I need to make phone calls. You know, I need to have people call me.
Yeah.
So I got a little $40 flip phone. That make sure you get 4G flip phone. Otherwise, the 3G ones will not work. And it was kind of a pain in the butt because people were like, hey, you need to Snapchat me or whatever. I'm like, well, or text me. I go, well, I'm like the old school text. It takes forever to send one text. It's very annoying. So I'm like, I want to call you. That's all. I got a limited time on that. It's a phone. I have a phone, and it's just a phone, and that's all it does. It's cool because I can take it anywhere.
Yeah.
But you know, and that's what I grew up with. I remember when I first got my first cell phone. I think I was 16. It was a flip phone. That's all there was.
Do you think that people should call each other more rather than text?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And a lot of the texts I get from the newer generation, I'm in communication with a lot of the newer generations. I'm doing a lot of business type stuff. Your generation. I don't understand what you're trying to tell me. I'm like, FYI, LOL, like all of this new that I haven't learned.
Yeah.
And I still try to write with like commas and sentences and full sentences, and I don't really know. I know what BYF means.
Yeah.
Best. No. F friends with Ben. FYB.
FWB.
Friends with benefits.
Yeah.
I know that one.
I guess you got a couple FWBs. I have a question. Do you think that makes us more illiterate now that we're texting?
Of course it does.
This way?
But at the same time, language evolves, and there's nothing wrong with texting language, unless if you know how to create a full sentence and write an essay and things like that. Then if you need to do a shorthand has been done throughout the ages, and language evolves. So it's just so that you don't lose your ability to have proper grammar and write something in a way that you could speak to the president of the United States with or something.
Do you think that the way we text each other, and I never really thought about it until right now, is the reason why a lot of us can't speak to each other in actual real life, in person? We can't formulate sentences.
Well, I'll just start. I'll answer your name again.
Devin.
I'm
Yeah.
Marcus. Devin.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Devin. Anyway, I have noticed that the millennials and Gen Z do not communicate. I would love to. I like to communicate with people from the 60s and the 70s generation, my generation. We seem to socialize better in a street context, in a bar, or of just a social, because that's what we learned to do as children. We didn't have that other way. We wrote emails every now and then. Email was pretty much the way to do it. And then Facebook didn't come until you guys were born, pretty much, and that was the beginnings of that. So, and texting was not done very much because we had the flip phones and it was annoying to text. You know? So yes, I think that you're losing your generation has lost a ability to socialize, make jokes, be witty, use eye contact, more or less, because you communicate too much through a screen. This is just a representation.
Yeah.
No matter how advanced it gets, it's still just a representation on a screen. It's not reality.
Yeah. What do you guys think about it?
Yeah, you guys.
I don't know if this is necessarily related to the exact subject, but I wanted to say something. Just for like about the past year, something I've been working on is mindful meditation and awareness. Because I used to be like a very clumsy and very unaware, I guess. I was looking for a better word, but I used to be a very clumsy and unaware person, and I didn't like the way it was. And now that I started practicing mindful meditation and awareness, I like focusing on the world. Like the world has has a value in just existing as it is.
Yeah.
Amen.
And what do you guys think about that?
I think the communication through the screen, the train's so annoying.
Yeah, this is the whole thing is gonna be like
Trains.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, well, I think it honestly has an impact on, I can't even think. Okay, social anxiety. It increases, like specifically with me, I know that I'm 10 times more confident like texting somebody.
Let the girl speak, hey!
Than just like talking to them in person. And I've gotten a lot better at it, having to communicate, advocate for myself, like with my teachers and with adults and people who aren't just going to be sitting behind a screen waiting to text me. And I honestly think it gives a lot of people a fake sense of power when they can like stand behind their screen and not have to tell you something to your face.
Yeah. Do you want to speak on this?
I wasn't at home for a long time. I didn't have my phone. I never really texted people. So I met a lot of people through just talking, and I really don't like talking to people, like just have a normal conversation just out of nowhere like that. And it was hard for me, and I kind of caught on like after not having a phone and not being at home for a while. Like I just made a lot of friends just talking, and it's better than texting. I don't really like texting. I like calling someone and talking to them, hearing their voice. It's better than just reading what they say.
Yeah. And you were talking about jokes. Comedy's changed. People became more sensitive. And how do you think that came about? You know, you had great comedians like Eddie Murphy just saying whatever they want on stage back then. Now we got cancel culture. What is that?
Cancel culture. I would say that yes, I have noticed that because I'm almost 37. I have noticed a huge loss of culture, of great artists like Robin Williams and Eddie Murphy. Perfect example. There's been many.
Yeah.
Who can you name now that has that kind of? Comedy always translates to the time, to the culture that is happening now. So maybe Eddie Murphy isn't necessarily funny anymore. Just like Charlie Chaplin isn't really all that funny, but he was very funny for his generation, for the 1920s.
Yeah.
So a loss of communication in the real world, of interacting in that way, of community. Well, that's where comedians learn their comedy, is through talking to strangers. I do comedy in part of my act. I'm just doing a little trumpet now, but I learn it by interacting with people and not being afraid of strangers.
I have a question.
Yeah.
You guys, when's the last time you guys really walked down the street and had a long conversation with a stranger?
Right now.
We met this guy walking through the tunnel, and we sat there and we talked.
And you know what was crazy? This all started with a board, right?
Yeah.
You guys decided that you wanted to write that down. You guys talked to him, right? A kid trying to change the world with a podcast, and then he came over, seen that he interacted with before, and this just created something.
Personally, Devin, I was walking up the street, and I go, oh, there's the girls that are changing the world over there, and they're Gen Z, and I'm Gen Y, and I'm like, well, I got nowhere else I need to really be. I'm gonna go talk to them. I had no idea there was an interview. I didn't notice the camera, but hi, Mom. I'm on TV. I'm on YouTube. Okay, so I am one that I'm different. I'm even more an example of of being a very extroverted person. I go around. I talk to everybody. I talk to the home bums. I talk on Halloween. I made like $50, just going around with a broken guitar, just talking to the hottest girls I could. And just making them laugh and jokes, and they're just like,
yeah. The problem where what I see is that people see a problem in this. People don't talk to each other. I used to be, as a kid, walking to, in the supermarket with my dad, and he used to talk to people. I'm like, what are you doing? That's not normal. But as I got older, and like you said, when you felt disconnected, when I started reconnecting with my surroundings and the world around me, I'm like, this is normal. We're not supposed to be on the phone. We're supposed to be off the phone connecting with people, because this is a natural connection. Walking down the street off your phone, connecting with the world around you, is going to help you find yourself better. It's going to help you find your emotions, feel things better. And I think that's how you're supposed to be.
That is exactly right. And that is, people of my generation and older generations talk a lot about it when we're together. We feel we're like we really want the old days when there was so much more basketball playing or soccer playing or just people everywhere. There was always a fear of strangers, but that was so normal to say hello, strike up a conversation. For one, as a guy, you would never get a girlfriend unless you didn't do that.
Yeah.
We didn't have a social media. It's like if you saw a girl you liked, you had to go talk to her. That's the only way.
Talking to girls right now, I feel like was a lot different than back then, because I feel like it's hard to approach a female nowadays because you never know the reaction you're gonna get. Back then, like, sometimes they would be like, yo, that person's weird. No, but like, I feel like it's more normalized now for a girl to be like, what the fuck, like, get away from me, like, you know what I mean? Rather than like, how else you supposed to do it?
Exactly. And so
Tinder, swipe,
Because
swipe.
yeah, and I do
on
Tinder
Snapchat.
too. I do Tinder because it's what I have to do, and I got a pretty good profile.
And then what? You're gonna have a
Go on to my
conversation
Tinder
on
profile.
Tinder, and it's gonna go nowhere. You're gonna meet up with that person. They're not gonna look like their profile, and you're gonna be like,
Yeah,
what did I
most of the
get
time they
myself
don't.
into?
There's a lot of filters and makeup and my.
What do you think about that?
Well,
We live in a filterized society.
in some ways it's kind of cool because you can set your Tinder. Like I have the